Hi, I'm Tina, and I'd like to say a very warm welcome to Start Spreading the News. Thank you so much for registering for the webinar. I'm really looking forward to seeing you there live and being able to share a lot of the stuff that I've learned over the last few years. Now, the reason that I've made this little video is because generally, if you're anything like me, when you sign up for stuff, you're interested. And I don't want to wait until the webinar. I want information straight away. So I've made this little video with some information straight away for you so you can get out of the starting blocks early and, get going. You don't even have to wait until the webinar. So before we get on to that, though, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Why do you do what you do? So, do you want to make a difference in the lives of other people? And would you like to increase your income? Now, most people that I come into contact with say a big resounding yes to both of those things. But getting out there, spreading the news about what you do so that you can make a difference and so that you can increase your income at the same time is not actually that easy. So what's attracted you to this webinar in the first place? Why are you here? Well, it could be for any of the following reasons. It could be that you don't have enough clients. It could be that your list is very small. Maybe you don't have the income right now that you'd like. And maybe that leaves you feeling that you're not making the difference that you know you can. And that might leave you feeling a little bit uncomfortable because you might get the feeling that you're not walking your talk. And for a lot of business owners and coaches who are out there helping other people, that's something that's really important. And I'm guessing what you'd like instead is you would like a massive subscriber list, plentiful clients, but the big thing that drives you is that you get to make that difference in other people's lives, the reward that, you get, the feeling that you get when you make a big difference in other people's lives. It can't be beaten. And of course, it does give you the kind of income for your dream life as well. Now, that doesn't mean to say that, you've got to earn 6 figures or 7 figures or anything like that. The income for your dream life might not be as lofty as that. But the point is, you do need an income for whatever your dream lifestyle is, big, small, or somewhere in the middle. And generally, a lot of people struggle in making, ends meet and getting the right kind of income. And certainly spreading the news about what you do is vital to this part. And the other nice thing that goes along with it is once you kind of spread the word and you're making that difference in other people's lives and you've got the dream life yourself, you do become a role model for others. And, you become that credible authority for others to look up to. So the vehicle to get you from, wandering around in treacle and feeling like you're just wading in mud all the time to being that superstar is the ability to speak to groups of people. And there are lots of different ways you can do that, which I will kind of move on to in a minute. But the other big key thing that you need to consider is when should you start doing this? Well, there's never the perfect time. There's no right answer to this question. It basically depends on how long you want to take to going from wandering around in the treacle to being a superstar in your own field, really getting out there, making a difference in the lives of others. Actually, there's no reason why you can't start right now. And I'm going to be giving you some tips in this video on how you can get started absolutely straight away. Let me give you these reasons why you need to start speaking and why you need to start speaking right away. First of all, it is the fastest and easiest way to promote your business. You've got to get out there, banging your drum, blowing your trumpet, whatever you want to call it. You've got to get out there, and speaking about what you do is the fastest and easiest way to do that. You can get out there today, ladies and gentlemen, and actually start telling people how awesome you are. But you need to do it. You need to get out there and start talking to people. It builds credibility and it gives you that authority status, especially if you start being the person who's speaking at the events that you go to rather than just another person in the room. And even if you just go to a networking event and you stand up and give your, 1 minute, the same as everybody else does, in that minute you can build credibility and authority status in what you do. The other thing is people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And you getting out there speaking, it doesn't matter how, as if it's video, webinars, live events, you've got to put yourself in front of people. Speaking will help you to develop the know, like, and trust factor with others. It sounds, without saying really, that it's going to help you build and grow your list, because, if you invite people to your events, people are going to sign up and they're going to get onto your database a bit, in the same way that you've signed up for this webinar and you're now on my list of people. And, I'm going to share stuff with you. And, hopefully you're going to like the stuff that I'm sharing with you, so that you will then start to know, like, and trust me. And this is what you've got to build up, with your tribe. Once you've got people there, though, you can deepen the relationship and rapport with the people who are on your list. So you can send them out little video blogs. You can, get talking to them, instead of just doing it all in a very formal written way. When you speak to people through little video blogs, through little snippets here and there, people really can build that relationship with you, that they feel that they're important to you, and you have that relationship. It's so much easier when you're speaking. Now, the great thing as well with speaking is, as well as actually getting clients, you can use it as a way of educating them. So you can make videos, you can do webinars, or you can invite people to events which are part of paid programs, or they can be free events where you educate people, where your clients may not actually know how much they need you until they start learning from you. So, for example, somebody told me, one of the things that I take right now for my health is minerals. I didn't know I needed them until somebody told me about them, and said, I kind of ate organic vegetables. And it wasn't until somebody said to me, well, you can eat as many organic fruit and veg as you like, but if the mineral's not in the ground, for the veg and the fruit to soak up and absorb, you're not going to get the minerals in your body that you need. And it was like, wow. So I was educated first. And then as soon as I was educated, I became a customer, because I thought, well, I know that there's something missing in my life. I didn't know what it was until I got that education. So you can use speaking to educate people. And obviously, when people have bought your programs, you've got to impart your knowledge somehow. And the best way of doing it is speak to them. It's so much more interesting than reading PDF after PDF and text after text after text. So, really think about using speaking for educational purposes. Obviously, that links in with the next point, which is product creation. You can make lots of videos and create a really great product, which people are going to love. Obviously, when it comes to promoting your products and services and sales, you've got to speak. You can take as many banner ads out as you like. People don't tend to take any notice. But when you talk to people, that's when people start suddenly seeing a difference between you and everybody else. Now, the other thing is, you might find yourselves in a position where maybe you don't have products and services to sell right now. Maybe you're in affiliate marketing and you want to promote other people's products and services. Well, guess what? You can do that through speaking in exactly the same way as if it was your own product. Like, for example, I just told you a little bit about the minerals that I'm taking. I could do a whole webinar on that product because I was interested in selling it, for example. And you can do the same thing. There are lots and lots of reasons for you to develop the skill of speaking to groups of people. And finally, once you've got people, who are customers, it provides you with the perfect platform for upselling. Once they become customers, you can really then deepen the relationship. You can really, go to town on developing their education and really building that know, like, and trust factor. And then once you have their trust, now is a really good time to perhaps run a webinar where you say, hey, look, I'm looking for some VIP clients. I'm only going to be working with a handful of, people, and hey presto, you introduce your VIP mentoring program, and you can do that through a webinar, or of course you can invite them to an actual live event, where you get people actually in the room as well. These are just some of the reasons you need to start speaking, and you need to start getting good at it now, because I'll tell you what, if you do it and you don't do it well, you can actually break down the know, like, and trust factor. It's really important that you're comfortable with it. Nerves are not a problem. I can teach you how to get over nerves, but you've got to be comfortable with the process. And basically, like anything else, you've got to know what you're doing. You tell me anything where you get good at it without having gone through a learning process where you're taught how to do it, you practice it, and then you get out there and do it, and then you get feedback and you get better and better. Speaking is exactly the same. Okay, so many people try and do it on their own without any help. Okay, and that's where I come in, obviously. So, as you can tell, I'm quite passionate about this. You need to start speaking. Okay, so I promised that I was going to give you on the webinar 15 ways that you can connect with your clients. And the great news is you don't even have to wait until the webinar, because I'm going to give those to you right now. Now, on this page, below this video, there is a little place where you can download a workbook that you can fill in, so that you've got a really good memory jogger on the webinar itself, and then a document that you can refer to afterwards. And if you download that, and you might want to pause this video, go and download it if you haven't already done it, but there's space in there for you to write this information in. Because here are just 15 ways for you to connect with your potential clients. So the first way is networking events. Now, I could teach you loads about networking. Obviously, not going to have time for that in this little video, and not even on the webinar in detail. But the big thing about networking events is that you've got to find the right one for you. And the best way to do that is to try them out. Most of them have got free trials before you have to pass, any money over and join. But networking is a phenomenal way of spreading the news about your business and about what you do. But again, you've got to do it in the right way. Okay, the next way is at conferences. There is nothing that really promotes you as a credible authority in your field and setting you up as an expert and the go-to person as speaking on stage at a conference. Now, this is not that easy to do. You've got to get known. And guess what? In order to get known, you've got to get out there speaking. I've spoken on stage at conferences, and all of those have been because they've seen me speak somewhere else. And a lot of that was they saw me speak at a networking event. Yeah, so it's like building blocks. You have to build the foundations, and then and then you can get there. Another great way of connecting with people is to run your own workshops. So what you can do is, hire a room. A lot of places these days you can hire a room actually quite cheaply, and some places you can even get for free if it's just for an hour or so. So there's a lot of like bars, for example, with a little room above them, and as long as the audience is going to buy drinks, they might let you, hire the room out for a short while for free. Or they'll make a small charge. But if you run little workshops and taster events, you can really connect with your potential clients that way. You can have big launch events. Now, launch events can be, again, live, like a little kind of mini conference or workshop. Or you can have, your big sort of launch video series where, you send out a series of videos and, you give great educational content, and then you might be launching a particular program or product that you're doing. Now, we've already mentioned conferences and speaking at other people's conferences, but you can run your own seminars. So, why not put your own conference on? Get together with a few people whose products and offering is complementary to what you do. And then the great thing about running your own seminars is that you can, by mixing with other people and joint venture partners, that event gets promoted to their lists as well as yours. Okay, so you can run your own seminars, and you can speak at other people's events, and not just at conferences, but things like virtual summits, you know, or somebody else might be running a workshop and you just go along as a guest speaker, and you might only speak for 20 minutes, but you start connecting with people. When I was taking part in mastermind groups, the guy running the group used to have guest speakers along frequently, so you can speak at other people's events, and you know, it really is a great way of doing it. Okay, now we move into the whole realm of webinars, and this, as you know, and can no doubt imagine, is one of my favourite ways. Okay, live events, I'll be honest with you, are problematic. You know, they're a pain. It's really difficult. You know, you've got so much in the way of logistics to sort out. They can be a bit of a nuisance, and you generally have to plan them quite a long way in advance. The great thing with webinars is you can literally decide today, I'm going to run a webinar this time next week, and hey presto, you can go. Again, I'm not going to kid you. There's quite a lot of work to run it really well. There's a lot of preparation that you need to put in, but you can run it in a much shorter time frame than you can an actual in-the-room event. Now, a lot of people tell me that, you know, they perhaps don't have the confidence to speak at live events, and for them, webinars is a much more friendly way of doing it. And then again, for others, even running a webinar, because of the technological aspect, can be a bit daunting. And the great way around that is this next point, which is automated webinars. So you don't actually have the hassle, and you don't have to deal with anything live at all. You can record your webinar in advance, so you basically do a video. You can have as many takes to get that right as you want, which is brilliant, you know. And then other nice thing about automated webinars is you don't have problems of people not being able to make it on a given date. And that's the beauty of them. There's no worries like childcare and parking and, you know, travel and accommodation and all the rest of it. I love webinars. It's got so many advantages. And automated webinars have got a whole heap of advantages over live ones. Plus, of course, they can keep running. Live event, that's it. You know, that's the date, that's it. Automated webinars, they run and run and run. Of course, what you can do is take a live webinar, and then afterwards you can convert that into an automated webinar, which is brilliant. Okay, so moving on, another way of connecting with people is giving interviews. The more you speak, the better well-known you get, the more you'll be asked for other people to interview as part of their events. You know, several of my mentors have interviewed me as part of an event that they're running, and they just then put it up. It's not even like a conference or a virtual summit. Although it can be, but it might just be literally a regular podcast that they do. They might be holding a one-off Google Hangout. You know, there's lots of ways that you can get your name out there and tell people about what you do, and giving interviews is a fabulous way. And giving interviews is really comfortable for a lot of people because you don't have to actually prepare a presentation beforehand. You just have to answer questions, and generally you get given the questions beforehand, so you know, you've got time to prepare how you're going to answer them, and it's a much more natural way than just delivering a presentation. Okay, anybody who is doing really well uses videos, you know, and you can use videos on your website. If you're not using videos on your website, you're really missing a trick. I love using videos, partly because of then, again, of the know, like, and trust factor. People get to see who you are, and, you know, you know, some people say, well, they might not like me. Fine, you know, they're never going to be your clients anyway. That, you know, some people are going to love you, you know, and you want to polarize people. You want them to either love you or hate you. Videos are a great way of connecting people, and you will also then attract the people that you're meant to work with, you know, like-minded people who, you know, they get to see you, and they get to understand what you're all about. But the other thing is, as well as putting videos on your website, just by having videos on a YouTube channel, it never ceases to amaze me how many people see my videos that I post on YouTube. And a lot of the time I only post them on YouTube so they can then take the embed codes and put them on my website. But so many more people come to me via the YouTube channel than ever they would direct to my website. It's absolutely phenomenal way. Remember, you know, YouTube is owned by Google, and it's the, I think, second largest search engine now. So, you know, putting videos on YouTube is an absolute must these days. And again, taking that a step a little bit further, you know, instead of writing a blog, just do a quick 2, 3, 4 minute blog or a 10-minute blog. And it's so easy. You know, you don't have to have studio quality. You haven't got to have lights, camera, action in the background and backdrops. You know, you can literally just take your phone and you're out and about and do a little video blog. It's as simple as that. And again, you'll connect with people. People get to know you and what you're all about and what you can do for them. Finally, you can put videos on potential JV websites, you know. You know, if you've got somebody who, let's say, for example, I'm all about speaking. I, you know, work with somebody who is really good at sales. So I might say, right, okay, give me your best sales tips and I'll put that on my website, and then vice versa. So you've got lots of opportunities here to get yourself out there by putting videos on other people's websites as well as on your own. A couple of other things which are a little bit perhaps left field. Get on your local radio or TV. It is fantastic fun. TV may be more difficult, but generally, your local radio, they're always crying out for people on their chat shows. When I was living in Plymouth, I frequently went along to the morning BBC Radio Devon studios, and I would be interviewed by the guy there who was doing the morning chat show. Believe me, it's a lot of fun. Like anything, first time you do it, you'll probably be scared out your wits. I was, you know, I'd never done radio before. But they make you feel so at ease. It was such good fun. I really enjoyed it. And I picked up a lot of interest locally from getting on local radio. And then, of course, once you've been on radio, of course, you can put that in your credentials. I always forget to put that in mine. It's something I must get down round to doing at some point, as heard on, you know, BBC radio sort of thing. So yeah, you know, you never know who might, you know, pick that up, and somebody who's running a conference might hear you and, you know, want to know more about what you do, and can they book you? How cool would that be? And then finally, social events. You don't turn off who you are when you go out socially. It doesn't mean to say that you need to be giving an elevator pitch every time you meet somebody when you're out and about. But generally, if you go to meet somebody new at weddings or out socially and, you know, out dancing, if it's in my case, or out in the pub or wherever you go, people often say, oh, hi, what do you do? You need to be able to answer that question. You know, you're going to ram, you know, everything down the throat. And I generally recommend a slightly different kind of answer to that question to when you're at a social event or when you're at a business event. But it's another way of you connecting with people. Okay, so there you go. 15 magical ways that you can connect with your potential clients. And you need to get good at speaking in all of these situations, because you're missing a trick if you don't do it. You know, you've got to get out there. Imagine how great and successful you could be by doing, you know, some of this stuff. Okay, so a little bit about me. Why should you learn all of this stuff from me? I'm going to keep this fairly short. Now, I'm going to tell you about me here in the pre-webinar video, because there's nothing worse than a webinar where you don't get into the content. You know, like they're still going on and they've been talking for half an hour about their story and haven't even got to the content bit yet. Well, I don't do that. I like my webinars to be full of content. And some people who will have been registered for this webinar will already know me. Hey, and that's boring. So, guys, you can, you know, fast forward over this little bit because you already know me. For those of you who are new, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I have got lots of bits of paper which qualify for me to be speaking to you about speaking. Now, there are loads of people out there who teach presentation skills and public speaking, but they've never done it in their lives. Okay, they may have run training sessions where they're standing up and speaking in front of about 12 people. But a lot of them have never spoken on stage in front of a big audience. They've never been paid to speak other than as a trainer. They've never spoke at conferences. They've never spoken in front of large audiences. Okay. On the other hand, you've got people out there who are professional speakers and who've got businesses where they do speak on stage at conferences, but they are not trainers. And they actually don't know how to pass their knowledge and experience on to other people. Okay. I'm probably one of the very few people who have got both. Okay. I've spoken professionally on stage. I've been paid to speak on stage, not just turning up at free events promoting my stuff, but I've been paid to speak on stage at conferences. And I've got a background in training and development, which was basically my corporate world before I went off and started running my own business. So I can break those skills down and teach them to you. I've also really invested heavily in myself for continuous improvement, and I have been student of the best when it comes to speaking. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of who they are, but believe me, I've probably invested something in the region of £15,000 to £20,000 in developing my craft of speaking. Not only that, I've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt, and I've made all the mistakes in the book, and I've survived. Plus, I had to overcome a massive fear. Those of you who see me now say, that's all right for you, you don't have any nerves. Oh boy, I used to have. Believe me, there was a time when I couldn't do it. I was too scared. But through learning and development, I got there, and you can too. So I've been there, done it, and got a t-shirt, and you can see a lot of my credentials if you scroll down. I've been a bit facetious and put my swimming badge as well, because I think, but hey, it's important to some people. So there you go. So that's me. Oh, I should have probably mentioned, by the way, a little about where I hail from. I have been living for the past 25 years or so in Plymouth, and my big hobby and passion is salsa dancing, especially out in the open air, and it's been a massive dream of mine to move to sunnier climates and go to Gibraltar. This last year I've actually been in the opposite of that direction. I've been up in Scotland, in Aberdeen, but I've had a great time doing lots of dancing, and I am shortly moving to Gibraltar on a one-way ticket. So I'm achieving my dream, and I want to help you achieve yours. So that's basically enough about me. One thing I would like to just say, though, is this is the kind of difference that speaking can do for you. I got to the point where I was a great speaker. I was great at educating people. I was great at motivating people, but I was missing a lot in the sales side of things. I really found it difficult. And then a few years ago, I invested a whole shed load of money in myself again, and I actually nailed that final piece of the jigsaw puzzle. And then all of a sudden I held this webinar, and it was my first multiple sale webinar. You can see here the date was 21st, and it went over into the 22nd of May, and I actually made just short of £1,000 on the webinar itself, and then I upsold to a VIP program and made £10,000. It was just short of $16,000, or just over $16,000, I forget now, just from one webinar. Okay, so that's the difference it can make. Now, there's no guarantees. It does depend on your product. If your product sucks, you're not going to sell anything. But even if you've got the best product in the world, you're not going to sell it unless you can get out there and speak about it. Okay, so it really can make a big difference to you. So what I want to do now is ask you, what could speaking do for you? Okay, you do the math. I'm not going to tell you how much you can earn. I can't say, come on my webinar or come on my speaking program and you will earn X amount of money. You know, I can't say do my stuff and you'll earn six figures or seven figures. But what I want you to do is come back down into your world. If you just did one talk or webinar, yeah, and you got out of that one VIP client, what would that give you? Write that down there. One VIP client, what would it give you? Or what if you made 10 mid-range sales? What would that give you? Or if you made 20 to 30 low-end sales, what would that give you? And what if you made 20 to 30 low-end sales? $47, £47, something like that. If you made 20 to 30 of those, what would it give you? And then if you upsold and got 3 clients, VIP clients out of that, what would that give you? Okay, so that's why it's really worth learning this skill. Okay, so I really want you to, show up for the webinar because I'm going to be sharing a lot of stuff with you that can help you do this. Okay, so this is what you're going to learn then on the webinar. I'm going to be telling you about the 3 biggest and most common mistakes that people make when they're speaking and the #1 secret of what to do instead. I'm going to give you 2 key insights that are going to make all the difference. The things that's, really kind of get in the way of people getting out of the starting blocks. I'm going to give you 5 magic ingredients to an ACE presentation. And then I'm going to give you the 3 big barriers and how to overcome them. Okay, those things that get in the way and really stop people. It's kind of a bit linked to the 2 key insights, but there are slight differences there. Now, when it comes to speaking, there are 5 magic ingredients to the presentation itself, but that's not it. Okay, there are 5 things that are absolutely essential to get right. It's not just about the presentation, and I'm going to be telling you what those 5 things are that you have to get right and have to do some homework on and do some background work. And then I'm going to tell you about my system to become a 5-star speaker. And I'm going to give you the key elements of that so you can start putting this into practice straight away. And then I'm going to have a little Q&A, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to get your questions answered there and then on the live webinar. So it really is worth you coming along live so that you can ask any questions and I will endeavour to answer them for you. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to be covering a lot on the webinar, which is why I didn't want to do all the reasons why on the webinar itself. I want to get straight into the meat and bones, okay, which is why I've made this video so that we can cover all the reasons why and a little bit about me first. So we can spend all of the webinar getting straight into content. Now, on the webinar itself, it's really important that you stick around to the end of the webinar, okay? I want you to make sure you're there all the way through, and there's going to be some great reasons for that. First of all, I'm going to give a little bit of extra content on one of the essential ingredients of great speaking. And then I'm going to give you a special free download which is going to really help you. And, it's a great guide and some tools in there which are going to really help you going forwards. But the best part of all, I've got a guest speaker. Now, Matt Norona is going to share with you his #1 tip on speaking to sell. Now, Matt is sales guy extraordinaire, but he's very, very special because he's not full of hype and, I was going to say a rude word then, but one of the things that annoys me about a lot of people who sell is they're full of hot air and hype and they do not deliver on their promises. Matt's not like that. Yeah, Matt can speak, Matt can sell, he is amazing, but he is genuine, he gives a lot of fantastic information and he delivers. Okay, so he's going to give you his #1 tip on speaking to sell, and he really is a great guy, so it's worth sticking around to the end of the webinar to hear what he's got to say. So I'm really excited, and I hope you've managed to stick with me through this video. I promise you, if you've enjoyed this little video and the little nuggets that I've put in it, you're going to love the webinar itself. So that's it for now. I can't wait to see you on the webinar. Make sure, if you haven't already done it, download your workbook. Watch this video again and go through those reasons why you need to speak, where you could connect with your potential clients, and what it could do for you. How getting good at speaking could really, make all the difference in your business. And start thinking about, what are your first steps going to be? Where are you going to take this information having learned it? What are you going to do with it? Because I don't want you to just come along and, learn this stuff. I want you to get out there and use it. So identify for me when and where you're going to use what I'm going to be teaching you. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for listening to the video, and I really look forward to seeing you live on the webinar. Cheerio!